Hello, Galen.
Hello, Oni.
How is your beard?
My beard is just fine. It's coming through. It's been forever since I've actually gotten a haircut, so it's a little long.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say. To start the show off in the cold open here, I have a brain buster for you. I have a linguistic puzzle for you.
All right, nice alliteration. Continue.
These words, what do they all have in common?
Okay.
The Xbox,
All right.
PS3, 3DS,
Okay.
Nintendo Wii.
They are all consoles.
No, Galen, you gotta put it together. All right, let me help you out here.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
Xbox, PS3, 3DS, Nintendo Wii. Xbox, PS3, 3DS, Nintendo Wii. Xbox, PS3, 3DS, Nintendo Wii. Sephiroth!
Oh God.
I stole that from something a tweet I read online. God, years ago now, and they probably stole it from somewhere too. So I don't know. Whoever that genius is that originally thought about it.
Thank you.
Hello, my angels with only one wing. Friends, thank you for joining us today on the podcast, Galen's podcast, where he listens to the gradual mental degradation and rantings of a madman, also known as the Nintendo Everything Podcast.
I do have my own scientific study going on right now, so it's interesting seeing this evolution going on.
Devolution, some may say. Episode 108, that's what we are. 108 gambling. I am Oni Dino, and with me is, well, I already mentioned him, but he's a dude who doesn't look quite as good as Sephiroth without his shirt on. It's Galen.
I don't know. When was the last time you saw me without my shirt? I'm just
Literally
saying.
the last stream that we did on our Discord because you decided to disrobe on our Discord.
Yeah.
Which is a great way to make people not join the Discord.
And people have joined since then, so transitive property, it works.
And they're gonna leave as soon as this episode goes up. Everybody was a unanimous no when you did that.
One of these days, the thumbnail for this episode is just going to me like slowly starting to take off my shirt and nothing else.
Literally none of these days will that ever be. Literally none. Hey, guess what? On this episode, I'm announcing a giveaway.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you
giving
giving away?
Well, not for you, of course. I'm giving away a copy of Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light. I hope I got that title right. I didn't mean to rhyme there.
Neat.
Sometimes I just might. I don't know how to give this away. Last time, let's see, what did we do last time? Last time, I didn't think about this clearly. We did, sorry, we'll get to the episode in just a second, but we'll talk about the giveaway right now.
Okay.
We did the iTunes thing. If you left us an iTunes review, all you had to do was screenshot it, send it to me, and then you were entered in the drawing.
I thought it was a 5-star iTunes review with a comment.
No. Did we do that? No, we didn't. No. You didn't have to do a comment. You just had to leave 5 stars. Boy, this is horrible, and this is something I should have thought about before I started recording this all. How about this time?
It's surprising that we left this part in the script. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yes, the script that we write every episode. How embarrassing. How about this time? Here's the rules, all right? All you have to do to enter this giveaway is...
So, send your f***s directly to the Nintendo Everything Podcast.
Okay, I'll think about this, and then I'll put it in here in post with future Oni Dino. Take it away, future Oni Dino. Hey, I'm future Oni Dino. editing the podcast. Okay, so here's what you need to know. So, the giveaway's real simple this time. I'll make a post on my Twitter as soon as the episode goes live. So if you're listening to this and that means it's live, it'll be obvious, and there will be a link to this episode, and it'll say that there's a giveaway. All you gotta do is like and retweet that tweet. That's all. And if you want to give us a rating on iTunes, I would love that. It would give you extra points in my heart. And that's it. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
You know, future Onidino sounded like he had a little bit more like hope and enthusiasm in his voice. I wonder why that is. Maybe it's because there's a brighter future for us all. Especially for one person who did the thing that you just talked about and won a copy of the game.
Right.
Feel
so
free
thank
to,
you so very much, Nintendo, for sponsoring us. And we are content creators and influencers. What's the other word that I hate? Brand ambassadors.
I really, really shudder to think, and I pity whoever we do actually have influence over. Like,
also, those were all jokes. I bought this with my own money, and like, it's. I'm taking a vitamin right now. This is the most riveting episode we've ever done. I'm taking a vitamin.
Did you make sure to take it out of your little compartment that had the days all like listed out?
I don't have that because it would never work on me.
What? Why not?
It would never work.
You would just get mad at the days.
No, the days already blend together, bro. Like, how am I gonna know if I took the right day or not, and if I even took it in the first place?
Well, you take it every single day, and that helps you keep track of your days. It's like on days where you go to work. When you don't go to work, you know it's a certain day. Or you overslept. That's also a thing.
Or you work from home and you work 7 days a week, and then you don't know what the is going on.
So 2020?
Oh boy.
I don't know why, but I just had the Curb Your Enthusiasm music just go through my head right there.
Oh, we should maybe throw that in there in post.
See, now you don't have to.
So here we are in the adventure log. Finally in the episode. Boy, if this is your first episode listening and like you listen to all that, thank you. That means that you're probably in it for the long haul. You enjoy the weirdness, because that's what happens here. Also find our weirdness. There we go. There's the segue on socials. My Twitter is @Oni_Dino and Galen.
And you can always find my weirdness at Mobius087.
We also have the podcast Discord, so links are in the description. Or you can go up to your URL. R's and L's are difficult, all right, Sugoi.
So are // and backslashes, but...
You will go to tiny.cc / Nintendo Everything Pod. And then you can go straight to our Discord. That's how you do it. Or you go to the description of whatever you're listening to this on.
I feel like that's easier.
We had a really lovely chat a few weeks ago for the American Thanksgiving, and that was very nice to hang out with people, and it was nice. It was very nice. I really liked talking and listening to our audience, especially like hearing how cool some of y'all are. Well, I mean, I'm sure all of y'all are, but we only heard of like from some of you. So it was cool to hear like that we had attracted people that I like respect and think are very cool. Like I have a mutual respect for them, and it's just very nice to have people like that.
Yeah, and you guys are also incredibly welcoming. I'm really happy that my wife was able to come in and kind of like have a chat with everybody, and she was telling me afterwards like she felt very welcome the entire time, and I was like, yeah, because we're all pretty cool people.
Yeah, so come join the Discord, come chill, hang out, make friends. It's lovely. It's really nice there. It's not an argument zone, that's for sure. Some Discords can get like that, and it's like, oof, no. This is a gated community.
Yeah, and I've seen that firsthand. It's rough.
Yeah, well, maybe if you weren't always causing arguments, Galen.
Maybe if you would just let me talk about my delicious home fried
Lady lumps.
potatoes.
Your lovely lady lumps have no space here, Mr. Gentleman.
I have been enjoying posting things on the food section of our Discord, so.
Oh my god. We must move on. Galen.
Mm-hmm.
I played just a skosh of Hades this past week.
Fantastic. What did you think of it?
Really enjoyed it.
It's good,
really
right?
enjoyed it. Yes, I don't have like super detailed impressions because I seriously only played it one night at night.
Yeah.
Which was a bit of a mistake because that's an intense ass game.
Oh yeah, it is. Like
So-
there's a lot of stuff going on, and it doesn't do that thing where it like gives you a tutorial to teach you every single piece. It's kind of you need to discover it all.
Yeah, and it does a good job of teaching you through discovery, but I will say that right off the bat, like I felt like I just, they don't, and some people might like this, so this is not particularly a criticism, but they don't gate stuff.
Yeah.
You basically just get your buffs and you get your whole area and you get your weapons and stuff like that right out of the gate, and you figure it out as you go. But I will say that initially it did feel a little sloppy for my personal taste of how I like to be introduced to game mechanics. I think I would have liked it if like the first run, because you're going to probably die in your first run, were a little bit more bottlenecked, and they were like, here, this is what this is and that kind of thing. Just like a little bit of explanation, because it teaches you through gameplay, like, okay, this effect is clearly a poison effect, and this obviously increases your attack and everything, but just a little bit more of a narrowing down would have been better for me. However, at the end of the day, I did 2 runs in one night, I completely understood, what the base mechanics are. So obviously very effective and very, not effective,
Efficient?
Yeah, they accomplished what they set out to do. So,
Gotcha.
And that's no small feat. No small feat by any means. So, good job on them.
Yeah, one thing that I kind of learned when I was playing it was the combat is very focused on the placement of your character, and depending on what kind of weapon you're using, you're going to be bouncing back and forth to really make the best use of your attacks. So that's something that you always have to keep in mind. It's not just, I'm going to stand here and attack. It's, I am moving, and within that movement, this is the effect that's happening from there.
Yeah.
So you have to be very mindful of your character's position in conjunction with what everything is going on.
Totally. And the second area is like a lava area. Is that right? Or is it just random and okay. It was a lava area, and you have to be really careful.
Did you beat the first boss?
I did, yeah.
Oh, nice.
I'm really good at video games.
2 or 3 tries, so.
I only did, I did the second time that I fought her. I beat her, and I think I just happened to have a really good build, to be honest. I'm not really particularly good at these types of games. I'm very average. I had the bow, and I had like a poison effect from Dionysus, I think it was. And that was excellent. That also fits my playstyle really, really perfectly. And it just made me super excited because there's at least 4 different weapons, and they're all very different. And then there's all of these extra effects that you can get from your buffs that you find throughout, your run. And it just completely varies up in an excellent way how you're going to play in that particular run. And I think that that's like the big appeal for these kinds of roguelike games.
Yeah, it really is.
So I was really satisfied with that, and I definitely want to go back and play more. I really do. It's just that, as I've said right now, is just a busy time for me, so I only get to play games like late at night, which means that I don't have the mental fortitude, to focus so much.
Yeah.
So I will be playing it more, just not exactly sure when, but
I will give you the tip or suggestion. Be a little reckless. with how you're playing in the game. Like, experiment with different tactics and what works and what doesn't work, because this is a very strange game where it almost rewards you with story and plot progression as you die. So,
and that is exactly what I personally need as a reward to keep playing a damn roguelite.
Yeah. I think it's a really good blend going on there.
Yeah. I'm very excited to play more, and I will talk about it eventually in more detail. I want to say one last thing, though, is the God mode. I figured out what it does. So on my second run, I turned on God mode because I wanted to see what it was like, on its own. And it just bumps up your damage resistance, and not even that much, just a little bit to where you think you notice it and you're not really sure. And then when you die and you still have God mode on, it gives you a notification that it's going to bump your damage resistance up just a skosh more for your next run, which is great.
Okay.
That's perfect for me because it doesn't make you all powerful, then you have no challenge, then you're not engaged in the gameplay. It just kind of means that I'm going to be playing this game a little bit longer. Everything is still just as hard as it was. You just are receiving a little bit. You just got a little more cushion in you.
Yeah, and it gives you more. It gives you more padding to make those mistakes.
Yeah, because I learn from my mistakes, Galen.
I never learn.
That's probably why you like roguelites. But
it probably is.
That's why I really enjoy games that have a good gameplay loop. Like, I always go back to like a Resident Evil or something where it can be super hard and you can completely screw up, but you feel like you've learned from your mistake. Because for me, the second time that I go after something, I'll be like, cool, I've learned from that. I know how I'm going to tackle this now. And with a roguelite, it's difficult to get that exact kind of feedback loop because your next build is always different. So I can't use my previous situation as a foundation to learn. So that's just a bit dissatisfying for me as a gameplay loop. But anyway, God mode helps to mitigate that, and I'm looking forward to playing more Hades in the future. Good. Thank you. I forgot which lovely listener it was that wanted us to play it. I want to say it was Jay, however, could have been somebody else.
I think we've had a couple of different people saying they wanted to hear our opinions on it.
Galen.
Yes.
You have not been playing Hades because you hate that game. However, what else have you been playing that you hate?
Well, I wanted to make sure I gave myself a little bit of variety. I was hoping to talk about Cyberpunk 2077, but...
Really?
Well, I had it pre-ordered for a while, but some companies, which will remain nameless, when you go do their Best Buy pre-orders and say you want the digital copy of it, they still will send you a physical card with the digital code, as opposed to actually like giving it to you. And guess what got lost in the mail for me? So
that is the worst situation that they ever could have done for like literally everybody involved.
Seriously, and I've been reading up. There's a bunch of people that are complaining about it. And it's like, why are you sending out a physical box with the code inside of it instead of just sending it out through an email? If I was to go on and buy the game digitally right now, that's what would happen. I don't need the physical case. But, I mean, I don't know.
There's a big bunch on several layers at several different parts in the process of this game that are under heavy controversy. Have you been paying attention to any of that?
I've been paying attention to some of it, but I will get to that later.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I have a lot of mixed feelings when it comes to some of the controversy I have heard about. Just out of curiosity, because I'm curious as to what you're referring to specifically, what are the controversy topics that you have heard about?
So I've only heard about these things in passing. I'm not interested in this game at all, and it's not a game that I cover for work or anything like that. For like
that's fair. It's a little bit out of your wheelhouse for what you usually play, so I'm not
absolutely
surprised by that.
And I have limited brain power, so I am not the best source of information on this. I have just heard that some of the devs, or at least people who run the devs' social media, have made transphobic comments or supported transphobia or something like that. And again, when I only have heard about things in passing, I withhold judgment until I fully understand what's going on there.
Yeah.
But I will say I've heard just kind of like damning thing one after another from multiple people that I've been like, I should be a little suspicious of this, but impartial as well. So anyway, there's that, and that's a huge, selection of things to go into there. There is also the big gigantic downloads in terms of it just releasing, the big gigantic not playing particularly well on base consoles.
It's really funny to me that you keep saying big gigantic when you're talking about criticisms of the game. So
it is big gigantic criticisms.
Well, and one of the transphobic comments or controversies that are going on is with some of the in-game advertisement that they're doing.
Right.
Yeah, they have a trans person up in an advertisement photo, and they have a gigantic schlong like underneath their clothes. Like you can see the outline and like the veins and everything. And the title of it is Mix It Up, and it's supporting some sort of like energy drink or something. And the entire idea is it's supposed to be this like edgy take within the, I'm not quite sure what they're trying to do with it, but that's one of the things that I have heard referenced when they were talking about like transphobic identities within the game itself and how they were over-sexualizing this kind of thing.
Gotcha. One other thing I want to mention before we move on from the topic is the crunch, right? That's been widely reported, and there's a whole bunch of just weirdos on the internet. They are weirdos who have attached their identity to this video game, and they're just like defending stuff and like even making things up. And even people, and I hate doing the both sides argument, I really hate that, but even people on the other side too who are critical of them are going overboard on certain things, or maybe making up certain things. I'm not saying that's everybody, that's always like a small amount of people, but it just sucks because it ruins the entire discourse, because then you're like, oh god, what parts are actually realistic and true and then what parts aren't? And then it's just like, we talked about this actually, I think in regards to a different thing a couple of episodes ago. We talked about like McDonald's or something, right?
Yes,
I think we talked about McDonald's because we talked about that Super Size Me documentary.
Oh, yeah. And the whole French fries not biodegrading or something like that.
Yes, because that was a lie, and that just hurt the criticism of what the person was trying to say. It delegitimized stuff that they were trying to say when they just threw in a lie right there. And it's like, you don't need to lie about this stuff about it, because people know that fast food is bad for you, and the shit that you're saying otherwise is pretty good. For criticism's sake. But now you've just delegitimized your entire platform by doing that, and that's messed up. Same thing here, and same thing in many other places. This is a humanistic problem.
Yeah, this might be a little off track, but when it comes to being critical and being objective about something, I think it's really important to kind of diversify your opinions. And you were just saying a moment ago, like, you hate doing the speak for both sides thing. I prefer to do that. Like, I sometimes prefer to counter some of my own arguments because I want to... Sorry.
Please go ahead. No, I'm cutting you off. Please go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just always want to make sure that I am looking at these facets as objectively as possible.
Totally.
So
totally. The reason though that I say like I hate the both sides thing is just because, especially recently in the last, let's say 4 years, and you can imagine what the last 4 years was. Whoa. There's so much stuff where they're like, yes, but also what about that kind of thing? And there's so much what do I say? Not defer, but like deflecting. That's the word. Deflecting responsibility, or deflecting proper blame on one side to be like, well, what about the other side? You know what I mean? And I hate that so much.
Yeah.
So yes, I think people kind of get what we're saying here. We got to move on, but we'll be talking a little bit more about Cyberpunk Cyberpunk in the future. Cyberpunk man in the future. Galen decided to buy it.
Gameplay. Wow.
That was you. That was all you.
Oh, that was all me. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
You made it with your butt. That sound.
Controversy aside, I've been looking forward to try out this game because I like the ideas that are behind it, and I like the world setting that it's building up. I like those kind of RPGs. So I want to have the chance to play this game myself and base my own opinions on what the game stands for. Like, especially the comments that people are talking about of the transphobia that's within the game itself. I want to see what context those are actually popping up in, other than, hey, here's this one screenshot from this one thing. Like, what is the context here? So.
Mm-hmm. So we look forward to hearing your cisgender white male opinions, Galen.
Yeah, basically. In the meantime, though, I did play some games, and I actually got a chance to play some My Friend Pedro.
Ooh, que sorpresa.
Yeah. Have you heard about this game? What do you know about it?
I know that I downloaded it on a sale and have not played it.
There you go.
Is this the shooting one with the time stopping?
Kind of, yeah. So this is
Galen, what is this game? Tell everyone.
This is a Devolver Digital game. This is a side-scrolling action game, and you play as a guy who has just woken up with a bump on his head and is starting to see his imaginary friend a banana.
I like where this is going.
Beyond that, like, first off, story is very light on here. I have no idea what's going on.
Cool.
And it's not that it's confusing or convoluted. It's just they don't care.
Gotcha.
It is.
That's great, because story is literally the worst thing about video games. Now, I'd like to talk to you about my belief in Xenoblade.
Oh, okay. Do you have a moment to hear about our Lord and Savior?
Our Lord and Savior, the Zohar.
Exactly.
Galen, go on. You didn't understand what I just said. Go on.
But yeah, so going through the game, it feels very weird. I looked up into this game a little bit more, and it's gotten some good reviews. Like, this game got a lot of praise. I'm just not feeling it just yet. I don't know what it is. It does have a slow down mechanic to it. Like, the way that your character is moving and the way you're jumping, absolutely everything. It already feels like it is in a bit of a slow-mo effect that's going on.
And this is a 2D side scroller, right? Just to
yes.
give people an image here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a 2D side scroller. There's wall platform jumping. There are things to swing off of. Like, it's very environment heavy as to how you want to place your character before you start shooting at them. And you can also go, akimbo style, where you're using two different guns, or switch to one single gun. There are ammo, different types of weapons that you can use in there. Because, it's a video game. Sure. However, when it comes to the actual combat, it doesn't feel right. Like, there's something off about it.
You just don't like the game feel.
Yeah, there is a manual, like, bullet time / slow-mo motion that you can put into it, and there's a little gauge that goes down. When I first went into it, I wanted to reserve that. I thought, like, hey, this is a special thing. I can only use it in, dire circumstances. But it turns out it refills rather quickly, so there's no reason not to use it during almost every single encounter. So, the controls themselves also feel really weird. So there is your standard shoot button, and it's kind of a twin stick shooter, where you use the one stick to move around, the other one to aim where your gun is, and then you press the button to actually fire. If you hold down another button, you can lock onto a certain enemy and then rotate the stick around. So you can, because you have two guns, you can shoot in two different directions at the same time.
Very Lara Croft.
Exactly. Which is kind of neat, but it feels awkward. Like, it does that thing with a controller where you have to like have weird spider hand fingers and holding down certain buttons at the same time to jump while aiming at two guys and shoot at the same time, while also trying to make sure that you're ready to dodge if bullets are starting to fly at you.
I see. And this is difficult for you because, as you've talked about before in
sausage
the
fingers.
Galen lore, you've got sausages for fingers.
So I'm having a hard time acclimating to the way that the game wants me to play. And I'm not 100% sure it's a matter of switching around some controls to really fix that. So
I see. So do you think you're going to continue playing, or you think you're done with it?
I want to give it another chance because I really do feel like there is more to this game that I just need to kind of get over this learning curve to it. But for the time being, I think I'm going to set it aside and move on to something else. I'd love to go back to Hades. Like, I would play Hades over this game in a heartbeat.
Gotcha.
So...
Well, that's interesting. We'll see what I have to say about it.
Oh, is this going to be the new thing? Like, I play a game and then you go into your backlog and find out that you've owned the game forever, so you start to play it too?
Yes.
You have so many games. You have so many freaking games.
You know what? Filibuster,
First world gamer problems?
Real gamer problems, okay? Capital R gamer problems. Speaking of gamers, we're going to talk about the Game Awards in just a momento. I would like to tell everybody, though, about a little attack on Calamity. It's not what it's called. Assault?
Attack on Calamity Ganon?
Age of Calamity. Hyrule Warriors story. What was that?
I think that was the Attack on Titans theme.
Oh!
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know what they're saying. There's like Japanese Latin there.
I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, who knows? Sugoi, we're gonna talk about Hyrule. Nope, that's not what it's called. Zelda Muso is what it's called in Japanese. I was just about to say Hyrule Warrior is incorrecto. But I had probably the most frustrating experience with the video game that I've had in a while with it.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So frustrating that I took to the Discord, okay? Our Discord, which is clearly the best place on the internet, right? So
ooh, the Discord!
So Nintendo and Koei Tecmo should be very upset.
As they should be.
With
nothing but
this.
shame.
Yes, right. There was a mission, and did I write down what the mission was? I don't think I wrote down what it was. It was like maybe chapter 3 or chapter 4. And there was a timer on this mission for whatever reason, and it was a main story mission. And as I've been mentioning on the show, the battles have been very leisurely up until this point. So you get to explore and look for those Koroks and take your time with things, which is great. I loved that pace because it's very different from most Warriors games. So I was mostly taking my time, kind of aware of the timer, and then I was like, okay, it's getting a little close. I better start just kind of beelining it, and then I will come back and do this mission again and explore the areas I haven't done yet. So I started beelining it. As I was doing that, new stuff was suddenly popping up. You were getting gated in certain areas and you had to stop and fight enemies and stuff like that. Things that you wouldn't know by looking at the map, things that you would only know by playing through it the first time, which is a little problematic just because suddenly the game wanted you to beeline it to the end for a really ambiguous reason that didn't make a whole lot of sense narrative-wise. And so I was already a little annoyed with that. I got it to the very end. I made it to the very end, past, brand new bosses suddenly popping up that weren't on the screen, past little gates that were suddenly closing on me and I had to, do it. I got to the very end, and then suddenly 2 mini bosses, the stone taluses, I think I've probably said this exact same thing before, they popped up right at the very end. And I was like, well, I have
Really?
no freaking, like, I had, I think, 30 seconds by the time that I got to the very end, and you had to beat them. It's like, you can't do that in 30 seconds. Like, so I was really annoyed about that. And then when you fail the mission, you can retry from the last checkpoint. However, the amount of time that they give you from that last checkpoint is however much time you actually had. Not like,
no.
yes, not like they don't give you the amount of time that you should have to sort of, beat that by the skin of your teeth, giving you extra time or
Hey, you
whatever.
passed here with 45 seconds left, so it doesn't matter if you need like 3 minutes. We're going to give you that 45 seconds.
Right, where the
Those
correct
checkpoints.
answer... Right. The correct answer to that would be, okay, you start from this checkpoint with this exact amount of time always, because this is the amount of time that you would need to really, book it to beat this part of the stage. You still have to try, but, we're giving you this specific time. They don't do that.
That's very weird. That seems very
poorly
unpolished.
designed.
Yeah.
Yes. So that means that you can bork yourself for that entire mission, and then all you can do is quit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to do that, which is frustrating because these missions are long. I wasted over an hour on this. And when I say wasted because when you click exit and you quit, you don't get the equipment that you got from the mission. You don't get the materials. I think you maybe keep your experience that you got, which is...
It's something, but...
is a piss in the face is what it really is. Based on just how much time I spent on this. If this was a 15-minute mission, I'd be annoyed, but whatever. This was an hour plus, and frustrating because there were so many things that I could not have anticipated without having just beelined it. And that was so upsetting that I seriously couldn't get to sleep. And of course, I'm playing this game right before I go to bed, right? My blood was boiling and I couldn't get to sleep, and I ended up staying up, an extra hour or two, and then didn't,
So you basically had the equivalent of saving right before the Resident Evil boss fight when you had like 3 shotgun shells. All of your ammo was in the ammo crate, but you couldn't get to it because you saved right before the boss.
Gillen, there's a lot of things wrong with what you just said, but for the sake of time, yes.
Well, filibuster.
As we all do. So that was super upsetting, and I really wish that they would have designed around that, or at least, like, if you bork yourself in that mission, if you quit, you at least, as a consolation, get to keep all of the things that you just collected.
Yeah.
Or the best thing would be give you X amount of time that you definitely need. And it was so upsetting.
Has the game given you timed missions up until that point?
Not a story mission, because the story missions are the long ones, the ones that are over an hour long. Or can be. They can be shorter if you're just beelining it, but I take my time with games. And as the story missions so far have suggested to me, I can take my time with games. So this was the first of this situation. There have been timed missions that are the side missions, which are 15 minutes long or something like that, or even less. And that's been fine. That hasn't been an issue because they're short and they're like a small part of a map. Yeah, that really soured my experience on that for a moment. I haven't gotten much farther in the game because I put it down to put up Hades, which was a mistake, of course.
Yeah.
We'll see. I hear that the story goes wacky, weird ways. I don't know in what way, but I'm excited to see what it is. Speaking of wacky...
Can you give me another take of that line? That was impressive.
What did I say?
Wild, wacky ways of gameplay or something. I don't know. There were a lot of W's, and I was like fairly impressed because I don't think you meant to do it.
No, not at all. I don't know what I said. The word vomit comes right out my mouth and becomes a salad. So who knows what goes on in this brain.
Vomit salad.
Somebody in the Discord wrote a quote like verbatim from me, and I read it and I was like, did I have a stroke? No idea. So anyway, that's that. Let's move on to the Gamers Awards.
What do you think is more prolific in our show? Your Oniisms or my Galenisms?
let's let the Discord be the judge of that.
Hey, there you go.
Vote yes if you want. Boy, the Game Awards, they sure did happen.
They happened, yeah.
We have thoughts, but let's go through the Switch-related announcements. Mm-hmm. We'll just slide right into them real quick, and then we'll have thoughts afterwards. Galen.
Yes.
Do you know what the very first Switch-related announcement was that came from the Game Awards pre-show?
The pre-show was actually pretty good. I want to say it was Sea of Solitude?
Yeah!
Hey!
Director's cut.
It's almost like I have a list in front of me.
He does, and I made it for him because I'm the one who does things around here.
Yeah.
Only Dino has the upper hand. Never mind, you're not going to understand that. Tell us about Sea of Solitude a little bit. Just what was it? What is it? What does it do? Who do you think? What do you...
It looks good.
What is it? You don't know what it is, do you? You're
I'm
fucking liar. You're just a liar.
I'm trying to remember the specifics of it.
So you don't know nothing. You don't know shit about shit.
Well, Sea of Solitude is basically it's an indie platformer. They're doing a director's cut for the Switch, and it looks good. I haven't played it myself, but I really like the creature designs that are in there. Aesthetically, it looks...
What's it look like? Oh.
It looks really pretty. The character that you mainly play as is it's like a dark shadow, with aspects of color, like she's wearing a backpack in there that is actually colored, so... It's something about her character design itself. I'm not quite sure, but it looks really cool. And again, the monsters, the enemies that they have in there, they seem to be a wide range of like gigantic monsters with "I'm gonna eat you" teeth to
like the oh god, what was that? Imprisoned from Skyward Sword.
Yeah, just like that.
And then there's a girl. She's there's like a flooded city, and she's on a boat, and she's traveling through that flooded city. Lots of nice little imagery there. Beautiful colors too.
Yeah.
Lots of blue, aqua, orange, burnt orange kind of color.
Mm-hmm. No, this game looks very pretty.
Galen will not play this game, I guarantee. This is definitely my style of game though, so I'll talk about it.
Yeah, awesome.
Speaking of depressing things, the next one up was Shady Part of Me. Also coming to the Switch, of course. All these are Switch related. I don't need to say that. Shady Part of Me. It's oh, go ahead. You have stuff to say. Go ahead.
It's just the pre-show as a whole seemed to touch on a lot of these like indie-esque titles for the trailer announcements. This one
was a little all over the place in terms of what it covered, though.
Yeah. Well, this one, I want to say these two were like back to back almost when it was showing the actual trailers. Yeah. But yeah, you're playing as a girl who is also interacting with a shadow that's on the wall. The shadow has certain moves that your character doesn't have, but you can also interact with the environment to make platforms for the shadow. Like,
it's very much like that Wii title. What was that called? I know you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, crap. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'll search it. Galen, keep talking.
No, this I was much more interested in than the other one. I love a good puzzle platformer, and that's very
Lost
much
in Shadow.
That's very much what I got from this. This is a puzzle platformer game. I believe it's already on the Switch because I was looking at it earlier this morning, and I think it had a like an early adopter discount going on for like a couple bucks off. Yeah.
And then the big thing. I don't know where's my words.
The
Sephiroth. Tell us about the reveal trailer, Galen. Tell us about your reaction to the reveal trailer.
I had mixed feelings.
You've never played Final Fantasy VII. You don't give a shit about Final Fantasy VII. So let's hear what you guys say.
Hey, it won RPG of the year. What are you talking about? Yeah, I know. The trailer started off really cool. They were going on with all the Smash Bros characters banding together, fighting whatever the Smash Bros entity is. Does it actually have a name? I'm not quite sure.
It's called Liberi Fatali.
There you go. And then all of a sudden, bam, gets sliced in half, and Sephiroth shows up. I was not expecting that. Like,
the first thing that plays, though, before he even shows is his music, is One Winged Angel.
Yeah. Like, when that music came up, I know that there are some people who are going to get really excited by this. And when that One Winged Angel played, they were just like, jaw drop, and was like, no way, dude! And it's just like, I had more of a reaction of, really? This is where we're going?
I had more of the former reaction, just because it was so stupid and so exciting for me. This is the first DLC character I've been excited about since...
with Fighter Pack 2.
Well, since even before then, with Terry. Terry was like number 4 in the Fighter Pack 1.
I'm always more interested in what does a character do other than who is the character. So this
we saw a little bit of his moveset.
Yeah, this very much feels to me he's going to be a stock base character, and that's good. They always need to throw in some of these.
Now, Galen, what does that mean?
It means that it's not focusing so much on the niche mechanics or anything that goes that they kind of like advertise with some of the characters. You don't have your Steves where all of a sudden you can play blocks everywhere and you're playing a completely different game than Smash Bros that you were playing beforehand. This is very much, this character fits in Smash Bros. This is a Fire Emblem character mixed with Joker. Like, that makes sense to me. I get that.
Okay.
And I'm saying the Joker part because they actually did show the gameplay where he does like bring out the wing, and it looked like some sort of like gauge transformation type thing. I would not be surprised if it is a similar mechanic like Joker does have with its I forget what their actual persona.
Like what it's called. Jesus Christ, everyone.
Hey, everyone knows I'm a fake gamer, all right?
You prove it every episode. Like, I don't even have to make the joke anymore.
Hey, that's for the new listeners. Now they know what they're getting into.
And they want out.
It's true. I'm excited to play it.
Yes.
I'm not sure it'll like religiously get me back into Smash Bros. I feel like that train is kind of past and everything else is just like oh, neat.
This has been the first thing that has made me think, you know what, I need to pick up Smash Bros again. I haven't even bought Fighter Pass number 2 yet. I will now.
Well, and I will be completely honest, I think that this announcement was more for people like you, because I have been playing
Not
Smash...
like me.
Well, let me explain myself. I have been playing Smash Bros on and off, specifically on every time they come out with a new character. But nothing's been able to like catch my attention to that. My tolerance, is that the word I'm looking for? I can't remember. But I believe that's going to have much more of an impact on you, somebody who has not played Smash Bros for a little while. When you come back and when you start playing, not only are you going to have Sephiroth to play, you are now going to have all these other characters that you can try out and experiment with too, as well. So it's much more of an intense feeling coming back to the game than someone like me coming back to the game.
Yeah, believe me, it's going to be very intense when I smash with Sephiroth, I'll tell you what.
Can we talk about how he frickin' skewered Mario?
That was such a good scene. Like when they did that,
so
like
great.
I of course, I'm not recording myself or whatever for these reaction things, but I did do the legitimate stupid streamer S and the D face. Okay, we'll say it like that so I don't have to edit anything out. I did legitimately do that face when they did that scene because I really do not think that Nintendo would have approved that, but they did, and that was really cool. So Sephiroth skewered Mario, and they were in silhouette, so you couldn't see anything. And then, of course, they zoom into their actual characters in 3/4. Yeah, and his
wrapped around its overalls. Yeah, no, that
was great. It was perfect.
So great.
I'd have to go back and like rewatch the reveal trailers and stuff, but I think that this is probably my second favorite one with its cinematics after the King K. Rool reveal.
Oh yeah.
Because King K. Rool was just absolute perfect because it was the tone and everything. DDD being an absolute shit and faking, and that was wonderful. This was really, really great, I think.
So one thing that I did want to call out though is that they did have that little bit at the very end of it when Cloud was using his final smash against Sephiroth, and they did change up the animation of it. I wonder how that is going to work exactly, and I'm really hoping we see more of that, because mechanically it's not going to like change anything, because so many of them have that same execute and attack connects, go into cutscene. Being able to see like different cutscenes depending on what characters are affecting what people, like that's really cool to me. I'm wondering,
I think that it is this. It's that Cloud's final smash is different only when he's fighting Sephiroth.
And I want that, but I want that for more characters too. Like I want...
I mean, that's a big ask, you know?
It's a big ask, but what else do they have going on?
Excuse me, Galen. I said big ask. You did not say big ask.
I slurred a little bit because of the drinking.
I thought it was that diabetic slur that you had. But it also could be that Sephiroth's final smash is that Cloud comes in and does the Omni Slash to him, and then Sephiroth turns into his end of Final Fantasy big god form. And then he does his final smash.
Maybe...
I don't think it's that, but I'm just throwing it out there.
Didn't they have a bit in there where the Highwind was flying on by?
Yes, the Highwind did come in there, and Highwind is the airship from Final Fantasy VII late game. So that was interesting to see in there. I wonder if that's part of the stage, but like Sephiroth himself doesn't have any connection to that. So,
well, and I do believe that we did see the actual animation for him executing the smash attack. Okay, and that was the sparkle that was kind of going forward. It was very reminiscent of Mega Man's Final Smash, where he shoots the ball forward and then it sucks everybody in.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm thinking is that they went ahead and did some editing trickery here, and they actually split up his Final Smash into certain segments. So like he does the attack, and it's probably something like Meteor or something that he's casting.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
That is what it is. And then he turns into that, his final boss form, casts Meteor. It does an explosion. Part of that explosion is the animation of the Highwind like flying away as a tribute to whatever.
Oh, you know what, Galen? This is the smartest thing you've ever said on this podcast.
Oh, I don't know what that was. I had to ruin it.
Yeah.
I had to keep everything in balance.
Yeah, you rubbed your boobs. It was weird.
Well, no, that was like adjusting a necktie, but I don't actually have a necktie or a shirt that it would work. I think we're getting sidetracked.
Well, clearly. I mean, you wanted to bring your mitts into play.
Hey, we already established at the beginning of the episode that the thumbnail is just going to be me slowly taking my shirt off. How did we come back around to that?
It's you. It's your filthiness. That's what it is. Whore. Anyway, Sephiroth in Smash. Very soon, too. Coming this month. Next week is going to be Sakurai's presentation for him.
Oh, is it really that soon? I remember in the trailer they just said December is when he's coming out.
Yeah, so. But after that they put out a tweet saying, "Galen, you don't read the damn news."
No, it was late. I was going to sleep.
What a tiny little baby. Sakurai presents.
Put out a tweet.
Got lost in a corn maze. On the 17th, he's going to do a Sakurai Presents video like he usually does. And
misses my birthday by that much.
Oh, that's right. Your birthday is the 14th.
15th.
That's what I said. So yeah, if you guys want to wish Galen a happy birthday, you can do that on the 15th of this month. But the most important thing is Sephiroth, and he'll probably announce like when he's gonna be available for purchase.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see some more Amiibo.
Oh god, Sephiroth amiibo, that would be a thing.
I bet they're gonna do 2 versions of it, just like they did for Cloud, and I hope they do.
What would the 2 versions be?
The one without his shirt on.
You think that's gonna be a costume?
It is! It already is! They announced it!
Wait, really?
Yes!
Oh, crap.
Galen, you don't read the news, and we do a podcast!
Yeah, but who comes here for the news?
You have to at least have an idea about what you're talking about. You can't
I'm
skate
sorry.
by.
I don't look up the sexy Bishojo people as much as you do.
Okay, Bishojo is for ladies.
Oh. What's the guy version?
Bishonen.
Oh. Porn!
This is not the last we will talk of Sephiroth or Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Or the lack of a shirt.
Guess what? Galen. What? Guess.
What?
No, I
What
mean,
am I
guess.
guessing?
Never mind. We're doing a game of the year. Game of the. What is it? Game of the Year award. Just like we did last year, and that's happening at the end of this month. So stay tuned for that. Look forward to that because Galen and I argue at each other, which is very different from our usual structure.
And we always leave both disappointed, which is the best compromise to be made.
That's true. That's very true, and that's a good life lesson. Moving on from Sephiroth. Can we talk about Jeff Keighley's shoes?
Yeah, they didn't change halfway through, did they?
I don't know, or if I
'Cause
just...
I only started noticing them by the end.
I started noticing them by about right now, I remember. Because
Really?
I was like...
Okay.
I was like, what is going on? Like, they look awful, number one. Number two, obviously, because the Game Awards is so very much a product and advertisement, which we'll get to in a second about that. But his shoes were obviously paid for him to wear those or something like that. They were hideous. They looked terrible. Like,
Yeah.
it took away from just what he was wearing, and it was just bad. I just couldn't take my eyes off of them.
It was very off-brand for what he was trying to make of the rest of the show, which is kind of a great commentary on the rest of the show. Like, yeah.
What do you mean?
It just primarily of wanting to put on this certain air of professionalism or almost elitism, like the same sort of reverence that people give the Oscars. But you're also blending in the gamer aesthetics I'm using the biggest quotations I can around that word.
No, really, it is the capital G gamer aesthetics.
Capital G gamer.
So not me.
You got your Razer headphones and your mice with the RGB because, that helps you be a better gamer as if it flashes silly colors. So.
Do you remember when the Game Awards started and they were like, we're not the Oscars, and now they're like, we are the Oscars,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Next game is Endless Dungeon. I hardly knew what that was, but I do remember at the very end of the announcement, Jeff sounded, and he just didn't mean it, of course.
Endless Dungeon, cool. Okay, next up is...
Yes, you remember too. It sounded so dismissive.
We're going to talk about this more later, I know, but there were so many of those moments in this show. Like, it was ridiculous. If I had known, I would have made a drinking game out of it. Of just like, every time somebody says, and now we're going to see people with the Instagram filter. Oh, isn't that so fun to have?
Oh, that
they
was
haven't
so
even
embarrassing.
started showing.
I know.
Like, what?
the lady, I forgot her name, but clearly her dress was not finished being sewn around the chesticle region. She looked great. Yeah, they were like, let's look at our Instagram beauties with the Instagram filter. You're all stars and keep uploading those. Wow, you guys look great. And they didn't even start showing it yet.
And she said that before they even brought on the pictures, and they showed two people, and it wasn't even they didn't do this until later in the show, but they didn't even switch the camera over to the actual Instagram filters itself, so nobody could even tell what these pictures were of.
And it was just peeling back even the slightest layer that they try and put on that shit, and it was just so very much the product and the engagement and the you know what I mean. I really don't like that, and I get it.
I know we've got I know we've got more like announcements to go through
No,
before.
fuck 'em.
But
I don't want to talk
yeah,
about
do you
video
wanna
games.
talk about
Video
this
games
now?
are ruining my life.
I honestly have to say that I feel like the product placements in the awards show were a little bit more on point than they were last year.
Well, last year was a big embarrassment, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have the, Subway Choice Award for Best Design in Game. Like, they didn't have anything that embarrassing. They had product placements in there. They had like hey, here's the gamer memory thing. Here's the MSI branded so-and-so. Like, it made sense, but the entire time I was watching the show, I kept asking myself, what is the audience that they are targeting for all of this? Because
Idiots.
I'm not it.
Oh, never mind. You know what it reminds me of is that episode in like maybe season 3 or 4 of It's Always Sunny, where the gang is trying out for the Philadelphia Eagles, and then they have like a sponsor person, and it's supposed to be a football player.
Oh yeah.
Come onto the
he
field.
Just comes in, waves, and then drives.
No. That's entirely wrong. They're all on the field. And they take a knee, and then this guy comes in. He's supposed to be the football player, but he clearly isn't. Like, even in the logic of the episode, he's just a shitty actor, a D- actor playing a footballer. They're like, who is this? And he comes up and he's like, hey everybody, I just want you all to know that you can be a great football player as long as you start your day with a hearty breakfast from McDonald's. Especially now their Egg McMuffin sandwich for $3.99. I'm loving it. And it's just like, that's exactly what this kind of shit feels like, except that people are eating it up. Like, that's satire, but like the world is such an embarrassing nightmare. There's nothing left to satirize right now.
Mm-hmm. No, it's 100% true.
That's kind of how I feel about the Game Awards in general. Just a huge representation of the video game industry that is very capitalist and celebrating bad business practices that I am just not about.
Part of me wonders if we're acting the way that we are about this right now with more enthusiasm behind our eye rolls, because this was basically like an E3-esque event. And
that's what they keep trying it to be. They want to legitimize it so much, and but they just reward bad practices. Like, okay, here's the thing.
It's true, but we had an absence of that with this year. So
yeah, because of the crowd and whatnot.
Yeah, but this is also like, I hate to say like a return to normalcy, because they freaking touted that every freaking chance that they could on this thing. And I'm really kind of tired of this collective, hey, 2020 sucked, am I right? Buy these headphones.
Yeah, not that I think that you should avoid talking about like coronavirus and like how, tough this year was, but I think
But it's not having a conversation, it's having a Nike slogan.
Yeah, it's really weird. And okay. There was that one like fake gorillas kind of band thing that I immediately muted as soon as it started playing. Did you see that? I think
yes,
it was during the show, not the pre-show.
Yeah, and they were like, "This is the world premiere of their debut album" or something like that.
Yeah,
I completely forgot about that.
Well, it was very forgettable, so I understand. The main character. And of course, this is all a digital band. The main character, and I still don't know how I feel about this, but I know I do feel weird about it. The vocalist of this fake band had a shirt on that said Black Trans Lives Matter. And of course,
did they?
Yes. And of course,
Wow.
I support Black Trans Lives personally, but also I am seeing this as such a product and such a thing. This isn't like even a singer, deciding to put on something, to put on a statement. This is a character that had to be designed and had to go through a couple of different okays, approvals and whatnot to put this out there. And it's a product and it's an image, you know what I mean?
It's entirely possible there was a focus group behind the decision to put on that shirt.
Yeah, and it feels it feels like doing the right thing for the wrong reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and support. You know what I mean? I'm sorry,
Mhm.
I can't really like articulate myself very well because
No,
we're recording right after the day after the Game Awards, so I still don't know how I feel about it, and I don't want to say too much if I don't know
Still
how I
processing.
feel. Still processing, but it just instantly made me feel like kind of gross.
Well, and here's the thing with that is that those kind of issues are people are really realizing that they can profit over taking a side in those issues.
Absolutely. The pink dollar is a phrase
Mhm.
that is used to talk about like getting monetary support from the LGBTQ audience in particular.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier. That's one of the reasons why when I'm seeing all these things about Cyberpunk that people are saying, hey, look, these are these transphobic things that are going on and these are these examples that are happening. I'm just sitting here and it's like, this is too much of a coincidence that these issues are getting the momentum that they should be, that they are getting at this time, because there are actual,
What do you mean?
well, there are actual PR practices of there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Oh, so you think
There,
it's a I forgot. There's a specific term for it, but yeah, like intentionally causing.
we've seen this with games like Grand Theft Auto. We've seen this with, I know there are tons of other examples. They're not coming to mind right now,
That's
but
fine.
we've seen this in the past,
Okay.
that manufactured social outrage.
Uh-huh.
And it sucks because it is demonizing, and it is,
I mean, regardless, it's awful because it's at the expense of a marginalized people, trans people.
Yeah.
And that's awful.
Yeah. And some of the outrage that is actually being brought up, that holds merit. There is an element of how does, in this particular example, how does transsexuality want to be represented in the media, and what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Like, that is a conversation that needs to happen, but there's a social outrage that is being propagated behind it that I can definitely see there are ulterior motives that are going on, and honestly, I don't want to be manipulated that way. I want to be able to be objective, to state an opinion that I feel will actually have merit and make change.
Yeah. Anyway, very last thing about that though is that, The Last of Us 2 won a bajillion awards. Not a bajillion, like the majority of the awards, I think. That night.
They give out awards at this show too. Did you know that?
I don't care. Like, as far as who won what and what private industry committee says is better than this one or whatever, I don't care about any of that. Like, It's cool for the people that work on it, to get their hard work acknowledged and stuff like that. So I understand the necessity of award shows and whatnot, but like, just kind of from our point of view, I don't really care. One aspect though that I do care about is that with The Last of Us 2 getting so many awards, it is just the marketing and the capitalist side of this industry encouraging and supporting crunch. You know what I mean? Last of Us 2 had plenty of controversy behind it with the crunch that workers were forced to work. And this just not reinforces that. And it sucks. It's just like the article that Jason Schreier wrote before, where there was a bunch of crunch at EA to make Dragon Age Inquisition, and the people working on it were like, I hope this game fails. And then when the game did very well financially, those people, instead of being happy with the work that they did and happy that their product did well, their hearts were like hitting the floor because they were like, crap,
This
BioWare
is all just gonna
magic
happen again.
Yeah, exactly, because they always say that there's BioWare magic, and that's basically just crunch at the end, and it's horrible.
Speaking of that, they had the announcement trailer for the new Mass Effect, or some sort of new Mass Effect that's going to be happening, and I'm just remembering back to how much of an abysmal failure that Andromeda was. Another game that was pretty crunched on as well.
Yes. All of these big, gigantic games that have big, gigantic publisher money behind it, including Cyberpunk, all of them have this. All of them. And that's a huge problem. This is a systemic problem. And then rewards, or the awards shows reward this crunch. And it's just like, people like you and me, if we were programmers or whatnot, just it sucks. And I really feel bad for all the little guys.
Yeah.
Really feel bad. It just sucks.
And I mean, it's when Laura Bailey won best performance for Last of Us 2 as Abby. Like, Laura Bailey's one of the people that I follow on Critical Role. Like, I have seen her in interviews. I've seen how she is in the show, which is entirely improv based. And I
have seen a gamer.
I have seen a thing. I 100% believe that her sense of being genuinely moved when she received that award, that was legit. Whereas, especially
because she endured a whole lot of vitriol and hate for voicing the character of Abby.
Yeah, the death threats were so stupid.
She's a super talented voice actress too. She's done so many characters over decades now.
All of them have. All of the people who were nominated were just like fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, we must move on. Let's run through these announcements real quick because we have a really good question at the end too that I want to go into.
Yeah.
So shortly after this, we got the Swedish Chef coming to Super Smash Bros.
Why do the Muppets keep trying to be a thing? Like I
love the Muppets. Come on.
I love the Muppets too. Don't get me wrong. I plan on watching frickin' Muppet Christmas Carol later, but it's just.
Galen, do you want me to edit that out of the show because that was really embarrassing to admit? Or
I like Muppet Christmas Carol. I thought it was a good movie, and it's one of my yearly annual watches.
I do like that one too.
There you go.
But anyway, this was lovely.
Yeah. I do have to admit, I like the whole trophy that they had in it. It was like made of tin foil.
I know, and it was great.
Like, it probably isn't a thing, but I really want to believe that there's some sort of like social commentary they wanted to make of just like, this is what these awards are actually worth.
That's not what they were saying. But if you want to read into it, that's completely fine.
Read into it.
That's fine because you know what? Authorial intent completely goes out the window as soon as that product is released. So
exactly.
Yeah. And then after the Smash character announcement of Swedish Chef, Disco Elysium coming to consoles including Switch. Very lovely, very, very lovely.
Yep.
I've heard such good things about this game, so I'm glad I can play it in a form that I will actually play it.
I'm surprised I haven't picked it up until now because it sounds like the kind of game that I would be into.
Yeah, so. It's definitely up your alley.
Yeah.
After that, The Evil Dead. This sounded
was surprising.
Groovy.
Are you a fan of The Evil Dead?
In passing. I'm not like okay, so Cliff, my partner, is very into Ash and The Evil Dead. So thanks to him, I know a little bit more about it than the average person.
Yeah.
But this is like a over-the-shoulder kind of third person, kind of, is that called second person? I don't know what they call it in video games. Kind of like RE4. Shooting game, and we'll see how the game flow is. If it's going to be like probably what it's going to be, which is like a massive multiplayer thingy, I'm not going to care. But if it's more...
I'll reserve judgment until I hear more about what the game actually is. But from what I saw, you got to play as Ash with his boomstick, and, that's all you really want in a game.
And his chainsaw hand, yeah. So I will keep my eye on this. I like this.
I do want to say it probably follows more of the TV show because some of the characters in there I recognize from the TV show.
Yeah,
I had no idea who the night guy was, so...
I think it's going to be a weird smattering of a lot of things because they also came out of the cabin from the first movie.
From the actual, yeah.
And also Ash was not exactly his current aged form. He was more like Army of
Bruce
Darkness.
Campbell is timeless.
Well, I'm just talking about like the character design and stuff. So yeah, we'll see. I'll keep my eye on this. Cool that it's coming to Switch.
Neat.
And then Ghost and Goblins Resurrection, a remake of... Oh, sorry, Boo did not like that voice that I did. Of Ghost and Goblins for the Super Nintendo.
Audio settings are a thing, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
This definitely looks like a remake.
Yeah.
So
we'll see more about this later, I guess. It's coming to Switch in February, I think they said.
And then immediately they turned right around and said, "Hey, remember the retro version?"
This was actually really weird, and I think actually a very bad trailer for Capcom
100.
Arcade Stadium, because as soon as that happened, I was like, wait, is Ghost and Goblins a part of that, or is something new happening? I don't know what this is. Is this a new thing, just like their beat 'em up collection, but this is going to be for their arcade games?
But it's free?
Yeah, and then it was free. I was like, this did not explain to me what your product was at all. This I thought was a bad trailer.
Yeah.
I looked at a trailer later on after this, and what it appears to be, and I'm still not sure, is I think it is kind of like their collection that they did for like the beat 'em up collection, but you get to piecemeal purchase these things. So it's basically just like an app that has all of these games. It's like a shop within a shop.
So it's like you download it like you would the NES Online thing, and then the games that would pop up, you buy the games through there?
That's what I'm thinking. Again, even
that's weird.
Additional trailer that I saw afterwards that was uploaded on the internet was not particularly clear. I just saw at the very end, and I had to pause it because there was text on the screen that was on there for like 2 seconds. It's free to download because it comes with one free game, and I can't remember what it was, 1984 or something or other. And then it says the other games are available for individual purchase. So, it sounds like it's unnecessarily convoluted, and I'm wondering if just doing a $20 collection of however many games and then doing like Arcade Collection 2, Arcade Collection 3 would be better. We'll see.
Honestly, for retro games, because I don't think there's as much of a market for the retro games as people think. Like, I understand you want to do something with these IPs, but thinking that you can get the most bang for your buck and like each retro game can be bought separately, like there's a reason these games come out as collection packs.
Yeah
500 Sega games. I just want Shining Force and Sonic, okay?
It's funny you mentioned that. I was bringing up the Sega Classics collection that's on Switch. I turned that on not too long ago because I felt like playing an old school JRPG, and I knew Phantasy Star was on there, so I went in there and I was looking at the selection of games that are in there. I'm like, what the f*** is this? I don't care what this is. It's a whole bunch of just junk, like absolute junk that's like on the floor of your friend's bedroom that you never even touch.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me when you were younger and you would go online and they were like, 500 NES and Super NES games you can download for your emulator. And then like 300 of them are like Chinese slideshow port games, and the rest of them are like basic whatevers.
Galen, this is really embarrassing.
Super Nintendo, whatever.
This is exactly what you did, and you were very excited about those 300 games. That was you.
Lonely childhood.
Then they showed off Super Meat Boy Forever.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got to say about this one?
Honestly, I thought it had already come out, to be honest.
Brill.
Like, the Super Meat Boy is one of those games where I like it. I don't have the patience at this moment to kind of get into it, because I know this is a game that you want to master if you're really going to enjoy your time with it. You know, other games like what was the one that you played either earlier this year or beforehand? It was like Never Gonna Die or something like that.
Never Give Up?
Never Give Up, that's the one. Those games are play, die, repeat.
Right.
And you have to have a certain amount of patience and mindset to go into it. I don't have that right now, so I don't have a whole lot of excitement on getting back into it.
Very
That's
tiny
just me
brain.
personally. Yeah.
Me personally. Very cool. Rude.
Well, let's talk about something that is really cool, and the fact that Monster Hunter Rise is getting a demo.
Yeah, it's coming out in January, I think.
Yeah.
Nice.
Didn't really get much more from the trailer. Like,
They
it
showed
looked
off some
cool.
new monsters. Stuff
Yeah.
that we don't really know because we're not super into Monster Hunter, so we wouldn't be able to tell what's new or what's returning or all that junk.
Yeah. I was very excited to hear that this is going to be coming out with a demo because I've been on the fence as to if I want to get into it or not.
Mm-hmm.
This will definitely help me out. So
Hopefully it's a better demo than one of the other demos that I played. I think it was Try Ultimate or something like that, or 3, whatever. That was a bad demo for brand new people. That was a demo that was basically just for Monster Hunter fans. It didn't really introduce me to the mechanics of the game, what I was supposed to be doing, or anything like that. So hopefully this is a little bit better of one than that back on the Wii U.
Next month, we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm very interested though. The game is looking really nice. The RE engine continues to be probably my favorite engine ever.
Yeah.
And then Fortnite Master Chef from Sweden.
Swedish Chef is coming to Fortnite.
Cool, I don't care. But I only wrote this down because how fun is it that you have your Nintendo Switch and you see Master Chef and also Kratos on there? That sure is a novelty.
Nintendo was the console winner at the end. I really don't know what to think of like Fortnite. Like I was thinking about this earlier and
Why?
Well, no, it just like Fortnite seems to be becoming one of those. You remember like the Toys to Life games that were really, really popular? Not the Amiibos. This is specifically like the Legos universe or the Disney Infinity thing.
I swear,
I
my
feel like
brain is going to be leaking.
I feel like Fortnite is becoming the new version of that with all these cross-platform promotions that are going on.
I don't know. It is the ultimate. I am too old for this right now. I am 30 or 40
you
years
won't be
old.
later. Get Future Oni back into the podcast.
Oh God, I have to record that too. I have to do that. Hurry up, let's get this. I'm so buried in work. Come on, let's go.
We have one more Switch announcement, and that is Ruined King, a League of Legends story.
Yeah, this looked very, very familiar, and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? This looks like an Airship Syndicate game. And then Airship Syndicate's logo appeared on screen. And I was like, oh, this is exactly like Battle Chasers Night War, which came out on the Switch. And it's like the same art style, same engine, same gameplay, just from this trailer, of course. So interesting. I know nothing about League of Legends.
I used to play it for a little while ago, and I couldn't tell you one thing over the other. So
We're wonderful.
League of Legends is one of those things where you don't go for the storyline, you go because your friends are playing it, and
right?
they're going to yell at you to get back into the jungle.
But there's
and you have no idea what that means.
There's also, that sounds sexual, probably a big old book series, expanded universe thing, just like Star Wars and junk. So that's what this is aping off of. You know what I mean? This is for the real weirdos.
If I remember correctly, they have been pushing on trying to make a couple of different games that use the characters from those.
It's just like Warcraft, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Brill. Overall, the Game Awards continues to be the Game Awards, a vision of the industry that I do not like. Something that was very prominent this year was having non-video game people come into video games, and I really don't like that. So we'll talk a little bit about this.
I had a huge problem when they brought in James Cameron, or not James Cameron, who the fuck was it? Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like that's how much I cared about the end, game of the year announcer. Wow, words. I have them. It's late.
It is not.
It is not.
It's 4 p.m. where you're at.
When he was going on and talking about like these games, I love games that have great narratives, and they started going off all of the different options, and I knew that Animal Crossing, great narrative. You're really kind of like screwing the pooch on that one.
Yeah.
I still think Animal Crossing got robbed.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's another conversation for another time that I don't want to have.
We'll have that conversation in 2 weeks.
We will never. Oh God, we will. Specifically, Christopher Nolan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Christopher Rabbit. He
Mr. Batman himself
is weird because he also just had this big tirade against HBO Max because he hates that films are being released on streaming services because he's like one of the few non-comic book directors who want their films released in the theater, and but the theaters are changing.
Theaters are dead,
especially after this year. The model will change with theaters and releases. So he hates that though, because I think that if it's going to go to streaming services and stuff, and this is a movie topic and we don't really follow the industry there, but I think that they're projected to make less, but at the same time it's the Wild West and nobody knows what they're projected to make. That's why so many movies have been like delayed instead of coming out on streaming services, because they don't know what the hell will happen. They need to make whatever back that they anticipated when they greenlit the budget back in pre-production. So anyway, him suddenly coming over here to the Video Game Awards is more like, it just screams to me of like, I heard that there's money to be made over here, let's do that. And like that's exactly what has been happening with video games.
Yeah, kind of on that note, I think this is going to kind of lead into our listener mail, so let's put a pin on this. We'll come back to it in a minute.
Okay. That, and then there was like a ninja thing in the awards, wasn't there? Like Ninja appeared and I muted it immediately.
Well, and that's just, Ninja has made his name in Fortnite, and they had the Master Chief Fortnite cross red versus blue collaboration. Like that made more sense, but anything with Ninja needs to be taken with a grain of salt, because the guy literally sold himself out for like $6 million because he could.
I mean, it's sort of a don't hate the player, hate the game kind of situation, and that's really what I'm mostly critical of. I don't really care for that person. Good on him for making a whole bunch of money and doing that, but like, I don't care for him. But it's just, this is a problem with the game, the industry,
Yeah.
Anyway, additional DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, what? Go, you.
Oh. All right. I'm going to have a really lighthearted one this week. I've got a content creator called Going Spaceward. He's a cool YouTube guy who just
YouTube guy. Oh my goodness, put that on your tombstone.
He makes really cool raps to go along with other types of songs. Like my favorite one I found of his is he does a bit of a rap at the beginning of Fly Me to the Moon, and the way it segues into it, it's really cool and very heartwarming. So he also seems like a complete adorable nerdy geek.
Okay.
And I say that in the most endearing way. So his videos are usually like 2 minutes long. Highly recommend him. It gives you all the good feels.
Oh my god, I hate that word. My additional DLC is it's an oldie but a goodie. Jason Schreier's article back when he was still at Kotaku. The article's titled "As Naughty Dog Crunches on The Last of Us 2, Developers Wonder How Much Longer This Approach Can Last."
Yeah.
Really good food for thought, really good article to revisit. Just leave it at that. Here we are on the emails. We got the emails. You can write into us, nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
That email one more time is nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
But Gmails are also a way of the past. You know what is the future and the present is Discord. Come on over to our Discord. Links are in the description. And we have a channel over there that you can write your question in. It might be easier for you.
Yeah. Just like this lovely question that was wrote into us by Jen.
Actually,
hey, Jen.
I have to preface this. Lovely Jen, I hope she does not mind us using this for her as a question on here, but it was a great topic for us to discuss. She didn't put it in the question channel, but go ahead, Galen.
Jen writes in saying, how do you feel about celebrities voicing characters in games while there could be, quote, better unknown voice actors for them? Game Awards or other showcases keep inviting celebrities that have nothing to do with games as well. What is your opinion on that? Do we need famous faces to sell video games? Thank you very much for throwing that question out into the ether, and we're just kind of like plucking it out.
Yeah, doing what we want with it. Kateni tekeshimashita.
All right, so we kind of touched on this a little bit beforehand, so I think our opinions are already kind of out there, but how do you want to respond to this?
Not with this yawn I'm doing. Oh my goodness.
Terrible.
Okay, I really love this because Jen is a moderator on Jozija's Discord. People might recognize Jozija's name as a voice actor. He voiced specifically Claude in Fire Emblem Three Houses and many other characters. He's very prolific.
You had a very nice interview with him.
Yeah, thank you very much. I did have an interview with him on our podcast, and I specifically brought this question up to him because it is a problem, I'll say, in the voice acting industry where famous people, famous like celebrities or whatever, film actors or TV actors are taking voice roles. And if you're a talented voice actor, if that's something you want to go into, that's, of course, anybody can do that. Anybody can, as long as they have the talent and the skill to do it, Mm-hmm. But he specifically said, Josie just said, he's like, I don't think there's been a voice actor doing a voice in a major motion picture animated film in, I don't know, he said like 20 years or something like that. I don't remember. Go back and listen to that interview. Joe had so many cool things to say. And that sucks because speaking only for like myself, for a parallel, where I also have a trained skill, which is translating, that would be like somebody who is a writer, putting a Japanese text through a shitty machine translation and then changing those shitty machine translation words into readable English. That doesn't make it a good translation, but you have just taken that job away from somebody who is qualified to create a product, and you have created possibly an inferior product. I mean, it's not a full parallel because there's lots of stuff that you screw up with machine translations. Lots. That's why it's looking exist.
Yeah, it's looking at a base skill and saying, hey, this person is good at this one thing. I'm sure they can do this other thing that's kind of the same. And
it's a different kind of skill, but just because an uneducated person, and I mean that as not an insult, just an uneducated person thinking that it's similar enough, that hurts the industry, and that's difficult for proper voice actors who are properly trained, have proper experience and whatnot, or at least people that are working on improving that skill and getting into that field doing that. And the thing is that celebrities themselves have so much damn money and they have so many options to them that it just sucks that they I'm speaking generally here, but they...
I know, but I do want to kind of butt in on this one. So during the show, one of the ones that really kind of like threw me off was, I think it was their trailer for Arc 2. And they had Vin Diesel, who was in there, and he was like the lead face and being a character and stuff like that in there.
How embarrassing.
And yeah, it's just like, it seemed very weird. Like, why is Vin Diesel here?
He's in there because his name is Vin Diesel, and that is the worst reason for putting in a celebrity.
I don't necessarily buy that, because Vin Diesel's also kind of a nerd. Like, there's a lot of kind of like famous people out there who kind of like go against that archetype of like, I'm the big, butch guy, I'm all about football, red meat, blah 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 blah.
What?
Yeah, Terry Crews is a great example. When Terry Crews isn't actually on set doing his thing, he spends a lot of his time like playing role-playing games and playing like, I think it was like Civilization and on his laptop and things like that. Like,
but hold on, I have to butt into you on this as you've butted into me. So this is nothing but a conversation of butts. Okay, this is George R.R. Martin's new novel, A Conversation of Butts. Actually, that's the name of my autobiography.
That is the name.
This has nothing to do with like gamer cred or anything like that. Not at all. I'm just saying that like if somebody is interested in doing something just because they have the clout because their name is Christopher Nolan or whatever their names are, going into another fields is usurping that from somebody else in the field, and that sucks.
I will 100% agree with that. Like somebody who is in a quote unquote famous position is going to have a much easier time getting into another aspect of the industry.
Exactly, because you would just get told yes. Okay, nobody's going to know this because everybody, but look at Michael Jordan when he went into Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
He was god awful, but everybody was like letting him in there. And even in Space Jam, okay, there was this wonderful, it was wonderful. There was this wonderful scene in the beginning where, he was batting and he was doing terrible. And oh my God, I'm sorry. I can't remember sports terms. The ball catcher. What is the ball catcher called?
The catcher?
The catcher. He was talking to Michael Jordan while he was trying to bat, and he was like, "My kids love you. Can I get an autograph later?"
An autograph.
And even though like Michael Jordan struck out, everybody was cheering for him just because he was just such a darling in Chicago.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And that's what happens is just like you get accepted into it just because your name is that. We don't need famous faces to sell games. We don't.
I
Go ahead.
Agree with that. I felt like I needed to kind of like step in because a lot of what I was getting from you was, hey, this is a famous person. Like if Vin Diesel was throwing his name out or was in this because he's Vin Diesel and he needed a paycheck. I don't think that's the case. I think some of these voices are like, they generally have an interest in the field, but it is a problem that they are allowed to get into these fields much more easily than somebody who is working and trying to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, because that's basically the connections problem, just like with a different mask. And that's kind of, that's a human problem that goes into all fields, and it's just a damn shame. Specifically, even Joe Zija said, and after I was editing the interview that I did with him, I was like, oh, why didn't I ask him specifically what game he was talking about? Josie just said to me, if Keanu Reeves wants to take all of my voice acting roles because he's a talented voice actor, by all means, he has more skill than I do, and that's why you should get it. But if he's getting on name alone, then that sucks. I wish I had asked him, is that Cyberpunk 2077? Like, is there a specific thing? Because that was too specific of him to say. So I wonder if before we ever knew anything, if Joe was supposed to voice a character in Cyberpunk or something that he lost out to Keanu
I'm sure
Reeves.
that was some sort of like NDA with his audition itself. It probably
possibly, but he certainly said quite a bit right there. You know what I mean?
I guess that's true.
So yeah, I wish I had asked him a little bit further. But what it sounded like, though, to me, is that Joe had that job, and he suddenly, in the middle of it, once they were able to get Keanu Reeves, or once Keanu Reeves was interested or whatever, and they realized that he is a more marketable thing and will be more beneficial. Like, people don't know Joe Zija's name. People know Keanu Reeves' name, right?
Yeah. To be fair, like, that is a systemic problem that has been in the Hollywood industry as a whole. And I don't think it's something that is exclusive to just video games. I think this is a much wider problem. But it's going to get way worse in video games. It hasn't been a problem in video games until recently, and it's only going to get worse because video games are now seen as being so profitable, And that's the other thing with the video game awards. Video games have been more profitable than movies for like almost a decade now. So
yeah, it's only going to get worse, and I think that we need to be aware of it, and we as consumers need to try to voice our opinion as much as we can, do what little we can.
I also want to voice my opinions against using celebrity faces just for the sake of them being a celebrity face, kind of like what you were talking about before.
Yeah, and look how well that went over, though, is what I'm saying with Keanu Reeves in 2077 at E3 last year in 2019. you know?
Well, and I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about for the Game Awards with Brie Larson giving one of the awards. Like, I have no idea why that was a thing.
But why did you single out Brie Larson as opposed to all the other celebrities that were there?
Because honestly, that was the first one that came to mind.
Okay.
And that was the first time that when that presenter came on, I was just like, why is Brie Larson? Like, I don't.
It's Larson.
I'm not familiar with. Well, Larson.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm not familiar with like anything in the game industry that she is involved in. So like, I might be incorrect on this, but
yes,
I'm not.
She did a bunch of promotion for like Animal Crossing, and I mean, but this isn't a problem of gamer cred. She really likes video games, and she dressed up as like Samus Aran and stuff. Like that's a pretty famous picture of her on the internet from years ago. But like it's not a gamer cred issue, and I really want to point that out for both of us. Is just like, we're not like, well, if you're not a real gamer, because then that just turns this industry into even more of a boys club than it already is, and that's awful.
No, that's fair.
And
that's fair.
It's just it's like, yeah, it would be cool if these presenters were prolific voice actors or whatever. Like, say the best music award was being given by a composer in the industry. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not one that composed for one of the games that is currently nominated, because that's a bit of a conflict of interest and all that.
Yeah,
but just have somebody related to that award or something. That would be a better celebration. However, that's not what the Game Awards is. The Game Awards is a product, is an advertisement, and people, I think, that exists, and that's fine-ish, I guess. But it's very important for us to be aware of these things. It's so important.
It's so bizarre to me that the whole premise and what they kind of want the Game Awards to be is similar to that of like the Oscars, but the Oscars doesn't shill themselves quite as hard as the Game Award does.
Mm-hmm. That's because there's so much uncharted water for them to monetize. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah. I don't know. I guess the normalcy for 2020 is the fact that, the Game Awards is still shit.
I mean, I don't know if it's shit. It's just that it's reinforcing the wrong things for me, It's
reinforcing the wrong things, and if you're going to give an award and have merit behind that award, tell me what standards that those awards are being given under. Because Game of the Year should not be given to the game with the best storyline. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Whatever. That's the thing I care the least about.
Yeah.
So, thank you, John.
Thank you, Jen.
And the holograms.
I'm tired.
What's coming up? What's coming in NintendoMerfdom.com.
Those were words.
Notes and translation. Inspiration. Go to
Are you
website.
okay? Are you having a stroke?
Also to the Twitter at NinEverything and YouTube.com/NinEverything. Galen.
Yes.
Your Twitter?
My Twitter is at true. No. You can reach
and
me
my
on
Twitter is at
Mobius087.
Oni_Dino. Perfect.
Sorry, you threw me off. I was genuinely concerned.
Galen, if you could give yourself one award, what would it be?
Most energetic.
And you'd win that? Is that what you said?
No, but I take the award. I tell people I had it. You didn't say I had to win the award. It's just if I want to take it. Like, I'm taking it off the shelf and walking home with it.
We'll see if Galen ever stops being an embarrassment on the next episode.
Never gonna happen.
Until then, stay tuned for Nintendo Everything. Wait. I don't know how to end the show.